like Attila the Hun. I came here to conquer. Lanes bring the beef, I tell them no donker. They wanna play games, I shock them like Blanca. They still rudimentary, I'm tough like Tonka. And let me get this off my chest. I'm hearing going nowhere, so haters take a rest. Ain't nothing handed, just working hard, sweating. You can take that to the bank. I know I did bet.
Real quick, you guys, if you happen to hear any extra noise in the background, I know I said it before, but there's a baby kitten, and yeah, it's kind of hard to keep everything under control, so I apologize ahead of time. Welcome to episode 23 of Eye of the Storm. I, of course, am your host, Tempestt. Please be sure to hit the like button, and if you're new and like the content, be sure to leave a sub and hit the notification bell to know when the next video goes up. It really helps the channel out, especially with the algorithm. Also, if you haven't seen previous episodes, feel free to give those a look as well. I started the playlist for ease of access. I do other things like montages, my own music, and work with people like BDG and Mind Over Mix-Up. And with that out of the way, let's get started. So, I've got quite a lot to say this time. It's going to be a long one. First off, this is probably the most frustrated I've ever been with gaming news. The console front is really annoying to say the least. So far it's been, hey, Target might have a limited supply online only, or, order to pick up maybe. Like, seriously? What's that? It finally communicated a little on both ends. I'm extremely disappointed there hasn't been much done for reviews or anything, but shout out to Mighty Key for actually getting the Series S and showing that, because that actually looks really cool. I like the design. In the wake of everything, lack of communication is just so bad. But, speaking of lack of communication, let's talk about this horrendous old school versus new school debate. Now, you know me, I try not to get in the middle of this nonsense and just talk about the mentality involved behind such things. As such, I'll try avoiding names. Some people don't need to get backlash or anything like that. They're expressing their opinion, which is okay. And if you haven't seen it lately, essentially there's just a huge debate on how new school players aren't hungry enough, want to win, etc, etc. Then of course there are new school players who disagree and start heavily discrediting validity of old school players, and frankly it's one large mess. That's kind of like the long and short end of it. You can always look it up. Now, I can't stand seeing it all myself. First off, let me get something straight. I won't condemn or side with either end because there's a whole mentality that needs to be looked at, understanding the pros and cons of both eras. At any given point, we were either the old school or new school in fighting games, gaming in general, or anything else. And let me tell you, it sucks when people swear that their way was better. Now, in some cases, it legit was better because of specific rules. In traditional sports, things were done for actual player safety, while other things are a bit too coddling. Boxing's changed for the better in order to avoid permanent injuries to the body or brain, whereas basketball, they're making things a bit increasingly difficult to be flashier, while, it used to be a highly physical game. It could have got dangerous, but, changes from super old school to 80s was great. And then, of course, the changes for dunking and all that good stuff. You have football, there are things, again, for the better, while others are a bit annoying. That being said, in gaming, there are things that were better and things I feel that weren't and also did change for the better. And things can still change. If you haven't guessed, again, not siding, for a good reason. Change has to happen somehow, and instead of just arguing, we should, talk it out. Let's start with the new school. Actually, first off, the online dilemma. It has advantages and disadvantages, but it also depends on how you personally use it, and honestly, my statement on that stays there. A lot of people can't sit in the lab and press buttons. It's in their mentality. They just need to play people. That being said, you can lab while doing that. The issue is that, unlike old school days, just playing people isn't going to give the overall knowledge you need. It will give you a valuable experience to not get caught off guard with something you're not too familiar with, however, or as new players call it, randomness. The online factor also makes it easier for people to use as an excuse for losses. Now, this applies to both new and old school players, and I've noticed that in the end it's too much of a crutch. While it may be legitimately a reason, it's not always the reason, and I can think of 3 examples. Ally in Brawl, Lost Souls in Guilty Gear, and most recently Ninja Killa in Mortal Kombat. All different eras, and all started off as heavily dominant online players who translated just fine to offline. They considered the meaning, they understood the meaning and grinded offline for specific things, it would seem. However, it's simple fact how you use the resources available. Now, we're going to address an old school thing. How you had to fight to win every match because it was money on the line, etc., etc. This is true, and let's be real. Not everyone was desperate to win in the end. I know I sometimes didn't go there to be a savage. Sometimes I just wanted to learn or see how well I would be able to try something. Plus, back in the day, because even some old school players are guilty of this, people weren't quote-unquote random. They had a different style. I know I've already discussed this, but it's a result of changing times and how we view it. Now let's get back to a different topic. Resources available. Now look, we didn't have the available resources back then, which means we had to grind something fierce and discuss. Even spend money just to figure out how to stop a tactic or style we didn't understand. Heck, at one point, people thought that throws were flat out cheating in Street Fighter 2. We really had to get creative and adapt back then. Thank you, Seth Killian, by the way. Now, well, there's, plethora of resources available for combos, ways to stop setups, new setups, etc. Wealth of information just makes it easier to not experience the struggle that we used to have thinking something was a bit too strong. At the same time, a lot of people don't make use of the tools we wish we had back in the day. It's crazy because new school players and kids in particular get this stuff practically spoon-fed, yet some don't care to or flat out refuse to look at things. This is most likely where the thought that new school doesn't want to win comes from, but it's not all. At the same time, look, if they're not taught how valuable these things are, how great it is to have a system with peripherals and execution so you can focus on making better plays, it just gets lost in translation. And lastly, while I'm all for more difficulty in execution, it doesn't have to be a slosh of a grind. I feel like old heads don't appreciate that we don't have to literally destroy our hands to be some kind of flashy anymore. Where I think new school kids don't appreciate that not having that execution made you develop differently as a player to adapt to your own level of execution. It's literally a case of people not realizing how good things are in general and simultaneously straight up ignoring how bad things were or are. It's an inside your own personal bubble perspective, and truthfully this could wind up being a whole roundtable discussion. It's a subject not fit for this format. Oh, and side note, nobody should be claiming you should be grateful for insert reason when yourself. Well, look, you're not grateful for what you have, so yeah. Look, I'll leave it at that for now. What do you think, though? Agree? Disagree? You got something else? Just let me know in the comments and, discuss with others. I'm definitely watching out for how you guys feel in general and, make sure you discuss with each other. Don't forget to reach out to me on media and follow me on Twitter to interact with me the most and get updates and such. Also, as we creep closer to 100 and beyond on the channel, I really want to thank you guys from my soul. I promise that when we hit there, you'll get a preview of the new theme song for the new series. And plus, this month, I actually have some special treats involving music. So keep an eye out. Announcements are coming soon. Special things are happening. I can feel it. Look, you guys are great. You mean everything to me, and I want to do something for you. So yeah, just keep an eye out. And also again, shout outs to BDG, Mind Over Mix Up, and the TO Talk, which I actually got the chance to be a part of this time. But that'll be it for now. Make sure you be safe, take care of each other, press buttons, and catch on the flip side.
You want says, best believe that you'll catch one. Represent my gang, hands shaking like I'm Gladiator. Beat the beat ferociously, I'm vicious like the Manhattan. Probably favorite rapper than just rolling like a Don Fin. I'm flame body, everything I do is guaranteed high. Y'all gon' keep this record spinning heavy like a Pokestop. I grasp not.